So this is part 2 of episode 31 of the YarnderWoman podcast. So if you haven't watched part 1 yet, go back and do that first and then come back and watch us. For everyone else, let's get on with the show. We're going to have a prize draw just because. Mainly because I've been away from podcasting so long, so I just wanted to have one. We were very, very kindly given some lovely patterns by the designers themselves. So we have the Agatha Socks by Claire of NH Knits. We have the Azteca Shawl by Debbie Hostos, who is Deb's Destiny as her designer name. She's also given us a discount code for purchase of any of her patterns. The code is YW30. You can get 30% off any of her patterns. I think she has 3 to choose from. So go and have a look in the discount code thread on Ravelry or in the show notes. And we've also been given a copy of the Schmancy Shawl, which is the latest one by Masha Ibuki, who is Fairy Little from Fairy Little Twist and Stitch. So 3 people will win one of the patterns each. And the way you enter is go to the thread on the Ravelry page. Let me know what yarn you might use to knit any or all of those patterns. 1 post per person. You must be a member of the group to enter. And as always with the prize draws, you'll have 4 weeks after I announce it, which will be on the next episode. 4 weeks to contact me. If I don't hear from you after that time, I will redraw. But that's just so, we can keep things moving, get the prizes out to people, and to encourage everyone to watch. As I said, I know people get behind in podcasts, I am as well. But I do like to have some sort of format to it just in case, or just because. A lot of just becauses, isn't it? So go and have an enter there, and next episode we'll be drawing that prize. Acquisitions. I have been very, very spoilt by a lot of people, and a little bit by myself as well. So let's get started. I was given the Hogwarts Express shawl pattern by the lovely Nina, who is Ene. She has her own podcast called This Old Knit. She's also the moderator on the Homespun House podcast group, so you may have seen her name there as well. Thank you so much, Nina. This is the shawl that's got the owls going all along the bottom, made with cables. I'm thinking that might be my project for my next O-Loops monthly topic, because the topic for this month is, I think it's to do with professions. So the people who do have magical blood, who receive or who purchase some O-Loops yarn, have to knit something that suits one of their professions. So whether you're a professor or a Ministry of Magic employee, or some people are even a magical creature. So Sophie's in the background here. She's looking very excited. But as muggles, we can choose any of those. So I might do that pattern as representation of a magical creature. So we'll see more on that next time. So thank you for that, Nina. I was also very kindly given a copy of the Azteca pattern by Debbie Hostos. That is one of our patterns for the prize draw. So thank you very much, Debbie. Looking forward to that one. This came in the post. Isn't it so cute? It's a Wonder Bunny. So one of my dear, dear friends who lives overseas now, obviously I've been chatting with her about a lot of the yucky stuff that's been happening in life lately. And sharing the joyful things in life, don't get me wrong, but she sent me this in the post. It is so cute. So this is living in my room now, so I'm very much enjoying that. I also got another present from someone who visited America, one of my colleagues, and went to a bookstore in New York called Strand. So I don't know if anyone's been there. And it's 18 miles of books. So I did clarify, the shop is not 18 miles long. I think it means a collation of all the shelves, but possibly not even the shelves they have now, because I think it's been downsized. But yeah, she got me this. It's a pencil case, but I'm going to use it as a knitting bag, for notions. And she also got me a Wonder Woman Lego keyring, so that's very cute. The lovely Amelia, who won a prize last episode, I think, sent me a pattern of View from the Charles, which is the latest pattern from Jennifer Lassonde, who's Boston Jen. And that incorporates the usage of any yarn you like, but particularly gradient yarns. And I bought some gradient yarn that I'll show you in just a second. So thank you very much for that, Amelia. Very much appreciated. I've got a new project bag. And it's kind of cool, isn't it? Wonder Woman, red with white spots. So I actually chose the fabric because it's a bag from the Etsy shop My Muddlings, which is actually a shop in Australia, and My Muddlings is one of the headline sponsors for the PSP, the Dancehall Studio Cal, and that's how I heard of her. I hadn't heard of her shop before, and I asked her about what fabrics she had on offer, and she said she was able to go and get more. So I told her some of the things I liked, you know, polka dots and red and Wonder Woman, and these are the fabrics that she found, and I think it's pretty cool. It's a great size, very big, so I can actually use it either for a large project or as a carry-all for various things. It's got the pocket there, which was next to her tag from the inside. So that's very cool. So I very much liked that. I then received a lovely parcel from Jana Nav, and she is the one who recruited me into the pigskin party, and she's a Seattle Seahawks fan. So to describe further tailgating that I talked about earlier, see, everything meshes together. It all gets there in the end. She sent me some things for my own tailgating party that I might have for Seattle Seahawks. So I've got some napkins, some paper plates, some glasses, and there was some chocolate as well. There was, as I said, this is just the wrapper, the chocolate's long gone. So this is Seattle Sea Salt, and it's Seattle chocolates, and here's the needle tower here. And I really like that the company is women owned. Now, I'm not saying in any way, shape or form that I would not like the company if it was owned by men or owned by both men and women, but in terms of women, I guess, trying to break the glass ceiling or trying to get further in employment, because unfortunately there is still a big divide, I think that's great that these are some women who are taking that on themselves and getting out there and making a very delicious chocolate. So thank you for that, Jana. That was good. There was a big ban of, what was it called? Patriot popcorn. So I don't know if anyone in the US has seen this, and it's in stripes. It's got one white popcorn that was truffle salt flavored, and the brown one was crunchy caramel. Yeah, very, very addictive. Sophie's probably listening to this and realising she didn't get me, but I don't think you would have liked it, so. Also sent me some lovely stitch markers. I've got it on the right way, there's a little sheep in there. Some great tags to put with your knitting. This took me forever to make. Bit of a warning, so I'll give that to people. And then this is a great, gorgeous tea towel. Wool is an essential part of any high fibre diet. Absolutely. So thank you very much for all of that loveliness, Jenna. So a couple of times I've mentioned Berry Colourful Yarning. So here's the card. And Michelle from Berry Colourful Yarning was such a sweetie, and she had a Harry Potter kit out. And I was talking about how the exchange rate between Australia and America is so bad at the moment, and she just offered to send me one. So kind. Thank you, Michelle. So the kit, very exciting. Beautiful owls. Very, very cool and nice, wintry and dark. It has self-striping yarn, and the colourway is Owl Post. So again, Harry Potter reference, because it's a Harry Potter kit. So these two colours of the grey and the browns are based on Harry and Ron's owls in the film. There's also some stitch markers. It's a witch hat, an owl, a book, and a letter, hence Owl Post. And there was some lovely lotion. So thank you again, Michelle, so generous. There's also a pattern that comes with it, and so it was on a lovely owl card. I won't show you there because it's got the coupon code to download it on Ravelry. Very exciting. So that's another option for my Muggles project, being that this is specifically owl related, so I could do magical creatures for that as well. Ooh, or I could use this yarn with the Hogwarts Express shawl. Now we're thinking. So I mentioned when I talked about Amelia sending me the View from the Charles pattern that it, not required, but it looked really good with gradient yarn, that I found some nice gradient on Etsy and from Australian seller. So I discussed with her what colours she might be able to do. Can you guess what colours I asked for? Red and grey. What a surprise. I am so happy with what she sent me. Aren't these gorgeous? Let me take the tags off. So first I'll show you the tag. It's Space Frog hand-dyed yarns on Etsy. So that's the website, but I'll obviously have links in the show notes. So she does them in 2 halves, so it's 400 meters total. Let me just double check that. 420 meters or 460 yards total, but then divided into 2. Look at that. So she's done them, they're exactly the same, they're just wound opposite. Isn't that stunning? So, so pretty. And this may become now part of the shop rotation, I'm told. So if you would like some, you can get there. That's the other end as well, centre pull balls. So I'm so happy with these. So those are going to be my view from the Charles. While I was there, because you have to make use of making the shipping worthwhile, even though it's Australian shipping, it wasn't too bad, but any excuse. I got this lovely beauty. So this is a variegated. It's coming out a bit lighter than it is. This colourway is called Foxy. Now, when I was little, I had a toy fox, so I've loved foxes all my life. And my toy fox was called Foxy, so the name really appealed to me. As I said, it's definitely more orangey than it's showing there. Let me see if I can get it. Nope, that's making it look more yellow. Anyway, trust me, it's orange. And as well as the name and liking the colour, my reasoning behind it was I've been thinking a lot about a handmade wardrobe, which I'll talk more about in Spin Me Right Round. And I was looking through some fabric I have, because other acquisitions, I've actually bought a couple of sewing patterns for some skirts. Now, I won't be making these anytime soon because I just don't have time at the moment. Mum's sewing machine isn't properly set up, so early next year I'm going to start that. And I have a whole lot of fabric in my stash, not as much yarn. But a couple of years ago, one of the big craft stores here had all these coupons and vouchers and discounts and all sorts, and I bought a whole lot of fabric with the idea of sewing at some point. So this yarn will actually go really nicely with some of that fabric, and I thought it'd be good, if I'm going to be buying extra yarn, to be getting some things that are going to go with some potential new skirts and things to make a whole matching outfit. So that was the idea / excuse for that one. As well as really enjoying buying yarn, I really enjoy buying brooches. So this is a new one, again from an Australian designer. This is it here. I might wear it next time so it's a bit easier to see, but the reason I especially wanted to show it now is she very kindly sent us this beautiful pin with the gorgeous porcelain there as a prize. So this is Red Lotus. She's based over in Melbourne on the other side of Australia, and she is on Etsy, so I will of course link it in the show notes. But that will be a future prize giveaway, and she even sent it in this beautiful little envelope. So when we have that prize, it will all come together in that. My last acquisition, I had to have a big sigh then because I thought, oh, have I got more? I was very kindly given a copy of the pattern Schmancy by the designer herself, Marsha Ibuki, a very little twist and stitch. Also one of the ones that we have as our prize draw. And in fact, the third one that we have, so we've got Schmancy, Azteca, and the Agatha socks. I mentioned previously that Claire, the designer of the Agatha socks, also gave me a copy of those. So thank you very much, all 3 designers, for giving me a copy and providing one for the podcast draw. So definitely go and enter that prize draw because all 3 patterns are gorgeous. Spinning me right round, there's been a lot. I've been spun in many directions. Main thing at work, as you may recall, back in February, I was offered the acting manager role in my team, which I very gladly took up, and it was at times a very steep learning curve, but I definitely learned a lot, and it's a fabulous experience. But we were understaffed the whole time, and there was no one substantively filling my usual position. But now I've gone back to my usual position of assistant manager, which I thought would give me some extra breathing time, but it hasn't. It's been just as busy. But that's been really good. And very sweetly, I was finishing up on a Friday as the acting manager role, and then the Monday coming back to the same team. But my whole team gave me a surprise morning tea on my last day as the acting manager. That was so sweet and really touching because as well as, meeting business objectives, I am there for my team and to support people. So that was very, very sweet of them to recognise me as well. So that was great. I've been trying to make through all the defrosted surprises in my freezer. So quite often, you know, I hate wasting food, but I don't think I'm alone in saying that, you know, on a weekly basis, sometimes food gets thrown out because it's gone bad, and that's just terrible. Like I was saying earlier, you know, we're so lucky, most of us. And so I've really been wanting to be more focused on not wasting food, on using things that's obviously saving money, which is important, as well as the environmental and moral reasons. So I've been making my way through the freezer of all these defrosted surprises. So within the containers, who knows what was in there, but we got some exciting, or I don't know if exciting is the word, interesting combinations of things. But on one day I pulled something out and I was like, I don't know what this is. And then throughout the day, my subconscious had obviously been working through it, and I realized, oh, that's just eggplant. Like, it was cooked eggplant. I'd obviously had an eggplant in the fridge and it was getting a bit beyond, so I just cooked it up and then froze it. And I thought, well, that's not really a meal, is it? But that came out really tasty. I bought some pesto sauce. Obviously fresh pesto is much better, but I didn't, you know, have the ingredients all the time for that. But some nice commercially made pesto. And what else did I put in? Oh, some cherry tomatoes. Just cooked that up, you know, reheated the eggplant, just really lightly cooked the cherry tomatoes, some spaghetti that I'd cooked the day before, just the pasta, and this pesto. It was delicious. Bit of Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper. So I really like it when the defrosted surprises work out. So that was very good. I've now, I think, cleared most of the freezer. I'm going to see, but my next job is to work through the pantry, because who knows what's in there. There's stuff, and I really need to just pull some things out, use it as a meal base, and use up what we have, as well as clear some space, because a bit chockers in there, you know. It starts off all neat and then things get thrown in, and yeah, it's all over from there. And on the topic of meals, I've been, as I mentioned last time, listening to all the back episodes of A Playful Day podcast, and in one of them she mentioned this book, and it's also a website by the same name, a girl called Jack. And Jack Monroe has written this one, and she does have another book, Budget Recipes. So Jack's story is that she was on, you know, had quite a professional job, was then a mother, and then was a single mother, and ended up on welfare because of childcare necessities not matching with the hours her job would allow her to have. And then realizing that the welfare, I'm sure in all countries, this was particularly in the UK, is not enough to live on. And so this book is made up of recipes that are very, very budget, that you can make with very, very little amount of money, and also with pretty much a pot and a spoon, because part of her story was that in trying to pay the rent, she ended up selling all her appliances. So none of these recipes use, you know, blenders or food processors or anything like that. So this only just arrived. I bought it from Book Depository. I'm not sponsored by them. That's just where I happened to get it from. But there is a recipe I got off her website, and it's for kidney bean and peanut butter veggie burgers. And I really want to make those, and I think I'm going to make them tonight, actually, because I think I've got all the ingredients. I have a peanut butter addiction, I have to tell you. I don't usually keep peanut butter in the house because I just eat it with a spoon. I end up making 50 pieces of toast. I actually bought a jar for this recipe and just got into it so much. I actually gave it to Damien and told him to hide it because I was just eating too much. So I'll have to get it back off him so I can make those burgers. I'll let you know how they go. But this is a really good book, even just from flicking through it. I won't hold any up because it will give it away, and obviously it's a purchased book. But check out her website and have a look. It's very, very good. Another podcast I've been listening to in terms of catching up is Yarns at Yinhu. If you haven't listened to her podcast before, do. It's wonderful. It's Sarah, who's Sarah Pomegranate. She's got a lovely tone of voice, and she also talks a lot about food. Now, at the moment, I'm up to the 2014 episodes, and she is going through month by month having a food focus. So she's near a shop that has bulk bins. So she's been taking, or was, I should say, it was in 2014, every month choosing something from the bulk bin at the health food store, something that she perhaps hadn't cooked with much before, and making things with it, and there were all threads to do with it where other listeners could post their own recipes as well. So I'm definitely going to go back and have a look at that. And I was thinking, I don't have a shop that has a bulk bin or anything like that, but I could use my own pantry to find things that are random and I don't know are in there, and I could do the same thing. So I'll let you know how that goes as well. The other fun thing on Yarns at Yin Hu, her tagline for the podcast is actually a podcast about knitting and other post-apocalyptic skills, which I think is very cool, because my joke is always, when the zombie apocalypse comes, I'm going to be fine. We're going to have to work out how to transport all the yarn if we end up having to flee into the forest like in The Walking Dead. But, transport issues aside, I'll be able to knit and make our clothes and our socks and all that sort of thing. So anyway, so I like that. But she also talks about, obviously, cooking. She's had a couple of episodes on tidying, and not tidying in a... just how she likes to do it, how she looks to be organised, and called it, skills for the apocalypse in that way as well, which I thought was very cool. She also talks a lot about poetry and literature. I think the April 2014 episodes I've just recently listened to, she was talking about National Poetry Month, which I assume is in the US. I don't think it's international. So she often has some poetry at the end, and I really like that, because I did creative writing, specifically poetry, when I was at university, which is almost 20 years ago now. It was actually my 20-year anniversary of finishing high school this year. It's quite funny. So yeah, I really like that, and it's really something I'd like to get back into. Not necessarily writing. I think the writing muse has left me a little bit, but definitely reading and hearing more so. I really enjoyed that aspect as well. I briefly mentioned earlier that I had a sleepover with my niece and nephew, so that was very cute. So my niece has slept over here before, but my little nephew, who's 5, is a little bit too young and too shy to come over to sleep here. So by sleeping over at their house, they both got to have Auntie Minda time, so that was very cute. I slept in Emma's bed, and she had a mattress on the floor. That's how she wanted to have it. She wanted to pretend she was camping. And I got a 5:30 wake up with, "Auntie Minda, are you awake?" Which is very cute. And yeah, I usually get up at 5:30 for work days anyway, so it's not usually my Saturday time, but that's okay. So that was very sweet. We went to a farmer's market. You may have seen some photos on Instagram. So I'd really like to go back there again, based on, these new recipe books and new recipe focuses I've got. I'd like to get some more in-season things, which is great fun. Another social event I've had, also you may have seen on Instagram, Damien was doing a stall at a comic convention or a pop culture convention, and it was in the town of Mandurah, which is about hour and 15-minute drive in good traffic from our place. So we went down with Sophie and her friend. We actually stayed the night in a hotel, which was a terrible night's sleep because our room was right next to the kitchen and right next to the front where people were coming and going all night. So not so good in terms of sleep, but that aside, it was fine. And the convention went really well. Damien had a lot of success, which was great. And it was just nice to get away, even though it wasn't, a proper holiday, and Damien was obviously working. The big downside was, as we were sort of, getting out the door, we'd obviously, packed a few things for overnight, and I thought, I should grab some, ibuprofen or paracetamol or something just in case. And then the thought left me and off we went. And when we got there, I started getting this really bad pain and headache, which I sometimes get at the back of my head and neck. I go to the chiropractor, I haven't been for ages, which is terrible. And just every so often, it's like a tension thing. It's not a migraine. It's just in the back there. And I sort of started getting it, and I was like, okay. I was trying to stretch and limber up, and it wasn't going away. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, to the point where my vision was blurring a bit. I just felt sick, and then suddenly, don't want to be gross, but I threw up from the pain. I don't know that I've had any physical pain that extreme before, and that's saying something because I have arthritis. But this was something else entirely. It was beyond. So that was a little bit unfortunate because it sort of tainted my day, because I had a bit of a look around at other stalls, but I didn't really feel up to it. So that aside, after the convention, we went and found a pharmacy. I got medicine. I was fine. It was all good. But that's all right. The rest of the day was fine. But yes, I've now put medicine in all my bags, just in case. Never mind. Another social event. See, all these things, it's like I've got things to do. It's weird. Halloween. So Halloween is not as big in any way, shape or form in Australia as it is in the US. I'd say it's becoming a little bit more popular now, but it certainly is nothing like it. I would love to visit America or Canada during Halloween. I think that would be amazing. But my lovely cousin has a Halloween party every year, and this year it was a Harry Potter theme. There seems to be a lot of Harry Potter going on. So I went as Bellatrix Lestrange. Damien went as a Ravenclaw teacher, because we just got a Ravenclaw tie that I'll use for other costumes in the future. Sophie went as Tonks. We redyed her hair purple, and her friend went as a Dementor. So that was great fun. There were a few vegetarians present. So we had a nut roast and a vegetarian shepherd's pie, as well as lots of roast vegetables. So it was very much like a Hogwarts meal. And that was very good fun. So, as I mentioned, I had a work trip to Canberra recently, and I was very lucky to get complimentary entry to the lounge at the airport, so that was great, and especially because my connecting flight got delayed because of a storm. So it was lovely. I could get used to that posh life. But it was very good because I had these very comfy chairs, did my knitting, had some tea. Oh, it was lovely. So it was all good. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is whether or not people would be interested in doing a Christmas card swap. So some of you may know that we did this last year in the group, and it's not a big thing. It's not sending a parcel, so it's a flat swap. So the way I phrased it, and it'll be the same for this year, is all you have to send your partner is a Christmas card. But if you want to put flat things in there, whatever will fit so that it can still be sent as an envelope, because that's the idea, is to make it not a big impost of time or cost. Because you may be sending internationally. And I think to send a card internationally here costs maybe $2.90 or something. So that's the idea. It's to make it a really fun, nice swap and get a bit creative with what flat things you can put in. So there will be a separate thread for that in the Ravelry group. So do go and sign up. You don't have to put your address in the thread. Just put that you're interested. And then send me a private message with your address, your postal address. Please don't put it in the thread. I don't want to put people's personal details out there. And then towards the end of November, I will partner people up. So it'll be a secret swap. So you won't know who you're going to receive from. So you'll be sending to a different person. So it's not just 2 to 2. It'll sort of be a 3-way thing. So, you know, person A sends to person B sends to person C sends to person A. That's how it'll work out. So no one will know who they're going to receive from. So it's just a bit of fun, and I really hope you sign up for that. And with that, I'll sign off. Tomorrow, Damien and I are going to see a film-recorded version of the stage production of Hamlet that Benedict Cumberbatch was in, playing the starring role as Hamlet. So that's going to be really, really exciting. So I'm very much looking forward to that. So today is going to be about editing, putting up the show notes, and trying to get some chores done. Then tomorrow will be fun. There's also a gelato place around the corner from the theatre, and they have cheesecake flavour. So good, so good. So unhealthy as well, but that's okay. I'm going to have it for a treat. So thank you very much for sticking it out for the 2 episodes, everyone, for this week, and I'll see you next time. Please visit the show notes at www.yarnderwoman.blogspot.com.au. The show notes will have all the links. The Ravelry thread will have links to the show notes. It's a big thing. And to just quickly pop back, if you are in a position to be able to make a donation to my charity walk for Alzheimer's research, please do. I'd really appreciate it, no matter how big or small. And I said, if you're not in a position to financially support, thank you for all your good wishes. So I will see you in a couple of weeks. There won't be as big a gap this time, I hope, but I'm gonna stick to that. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me that you've taken time to watch, and happy crafting. Bye-bye.